Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Rachel Shank. I am the Executive Director of Georgetown Main Street, and I want to thank all of you for joining us today live, or those of you that are watching this in the future, for today's Summer Restaurant Workshop. For those of you who may be new to the Georgetown Main Street community or are completely unfamiliar with the work of Main Streets, Georgetown Main Street is one of 29 Main Streets just in DC and one of thousands across the country. Our mission here in Georgetown is to strengthen the vitality of Georgetown small businesses by representing, promoting, and supporting the Wisconsin Avenue Commercial Corridor and engaging residents, businesses, and community organizations to build a vibrant Georgetown. Today's workshop is part of that mission. We know that running a restaurant, especially in the summer months in DC, comes with unique challenges. So we hope that the ideas and tools shared today will help you in the months ahead. Before we dive in, I'd love to pass it over to Georgetown Main Street board member and longtime restaurant lover, Allison Cook, who will share more about the purpose of these workshops and what you can expect today.
Thanks, Rachel. As she mentioned, I'm a board member of Georgetown Main Street. Everyone that engages with Main Street, board members were volunteers. You know, Rachel's our main employee and she's amazing directing us all. But I have a special passion for restaurants. I was a restaurant designer for about 18 years. And so as part of that, gained a lot of empathy towards, what your operations are, your business challenges, and understand that these resources are hard to come by and hope to kind of leverage the amazing contacts that I've got over the years to be able to provide some of this programming and educational resources to our Georgetown Main Street restaurants and small businesses. So one of those, of course, is Oyster Sunday and Oyster Sunday Benefits, who you're going to hear from today. So just as a recap, this is the first of 3 virtual sessions that we're doing this summer. The cadence will be every 2 weeks. So we're excited to have you join us. The next one will be on human resources, and the one after that will be a profit and loss 101. So more of an accounting focus and dig into that. Just as far as what we hope to gain from this is some of your feedback in terms of if these are useful, and as a resource for the restaurant community moving forward, we'd love to hear from you, and other topics that you would love for us to kind of find experts to address those things. And then just to build a community of restaurants in Georgetown for sharing these types of resources and connections. And then as far as just sort of the run of show for today, to give everybody the rundown, it's going to be about a 45-minute presentation from Sophie and Allie, who will introduce themselves shortly. We'll have time for a Q&A. So if everybody kind of hovers over the bottom of their screen, you should see a little Q&A tab. So we're going to collect questions if you could type them in there, and then they'll address those at the end. As Rachel sort of mentioned at the beginning, you are automatically muted and we cannot see your video screen at all. If it's necessary to kind of engage with you guys in that way to answer questions, we can always activate that later. And as she mentioned, this will be hosted later. Georgetown Main Street has a YouTube channel. We will also be sending a follow-up email to all the attendees afterwards with a link to that. And then any takeaways, the presentation that Sophie and Allie have prepared, as well as their contact information. So you can feel free to reach out to them after the presentation. So I think without further ado, I'll let Sophie and Allie introduce themselves and get started.
Thank you. I am Allie Lariah, and I am the Director of Business Development at OS Benefits, and you will hear a bit more from me soon. Sophie?
Good morning, and many thanks to Allison, Rachel, and Georgetown Main Street for hosting us. We're really excited and grateful to be here, and thank you to all of you. We know how much it means to take time from your day to join something like this, and are excited to share a little bit more about our 2 companies, Oyster Sunday and OS Benefits. Just like Allie mentioned before we jumped in, wanted to do a couple of quick introductions, both for ourselves and for the companies. So I'm Sophie. I am Head of People and Operations at Oyster Sunday and live in Los Angeles. Before that, I was based on the East Coast for the last 10 years, and I work with our team to help support all things internal operations and HR at our companies. And so we're going to dive into that a little bit further when it comes to the work that we do across the 2 companies and how we work together. But very excited to be here with you all today. So goal of today is really to do an overview and equip you with a clear path introducing benefits to your team. Benefits are often, for a lot of reasons, historically, financially, administratively, something that's quite challenging for specifically the hospitality industry and environment. And so really to just understand foundationally, what is the state of benefits in hospitality? How did we get here? What are some of the challenges that small teams are facing right now? How to build benefits on a budget, and then obviously to do a background and introduction to what we built at OS Benefits too. So before we jump in, wanted to give a little bit of context to who we are and what brought us to the conversation today. We, like I mentioned, have two companies, sibling companies, the first being Oyster Sunday, and Oyster Sunday is a hospitality consulting agency. We are based out of New Orleans, but work with operators across the country. We really believe that in order to have a business, whether you're a restaurant, a hotel, a CPG company, a bar, that it really takes the power of a corporate office to do so. But as an operator, in order to have that, we really help tap into the different areas of support from finance strategy, HR, F&B operations, concept development, branding, website, go-to-market strategy, and we have the folks on our team who help represent all of those disciplines. So we work with our clients both on a ongoing fractional basis and project basis to help do that, whether it's at the opening stage of growth or as an existing business that maybe is facing challenges that need some support on. Throughout the years of operating Oyster Sunday, we've been really grateful to work with teams who have given us really great feedback, particularly on the state of building their benefits package. And so that, inspired both our founder, Elizabeth, and our team to dig a little bit deeper into that and to build what we have as OS Benefits as the company. And so OS Benefits was really built to help address this long-term problem of exactly what we're going to talk about today, why benefits has been so prohibitive for the hospitality industry in general. And I'll pass it over to Allie to share a little bit more.
Yeah, to go off of that, for the first few years in business at Oyster Sunday, we heard from so many restaurant operators that there was a huge gap in benefits. And it was either the first time that they were offering benefits, they didn't even know what was available. They certainly didn't think anything was affordable that they were seeing in the market. And so we built OS Benefits for the hospitality industry, for the operators, for the employees. That's how we built our technology to make sure that we know who's using it on their phones, and we want it to just be accessible to operators and employees, and offer them benefits that they historically haven't had access to.
Thanks, Allie. So in order for us to discuss solutions to what some of these challenges could look like, we really think it's important to understand the current landscape and take a little bit more of a holistic view on how this could work for operators of different sizes and those facing different challenges, especially in an industry where margins are extremely thin. So just to start off with a little bit of data, there are more than 12 million hospitality workers in the US, and of those, only 32% are offered employer-sponsored health insurance. What this data tells us is that we're really in a moment where benefits can no longer be an afterthought for hospitality businesses. As we all know, staffing shortages continue to strain operations, and benefits are becoming one of the reasons why people choose a job or choose to make a transition from a job. That doesn't make it any easier for operators, right? There are still extreme challenges that operators are facing when it comes to, like I mentioned, the financial, administrative, and operational needs with these benefits, which we'll get into in just a second. But hospitality remains one of the most underinsured sectors. So with only 32% of workers offered employer-sponsored health insurance, there's a lot of empathy behind that number, right? Like I mentioned, margins can be extremely thin. So it's really important, and the goal is to find a mix of benefits that work for your evolving team, but also for your business needs. And I think that the general takeaway for really why this matters right now is that offering competitive benefits and meaningful benefits isn't just good for workers. It's one of the smartest tools that an operator can have when we're seeing such high data in terms of turnover, filling roles, creating sustainable people-first businesses. So the reality of health insurance for small teams, a small employer, and when we say small employer, we're thinking under 50 employees. The traditional group health insurance model really doesn't work the way that it was intended to. Premiums are high when you don't have the scale of a large employer. Insurance companies charge more per person. That means that if a business wants to offer coverage, the cost can be extremely prohibitive. Then there's the issue of plan variety. Small groups are often left with limited choices. Excuse me. Usually when it comes to just one or two carriers with very little wiggle room to tailor coverage to their team's real needs. And on top of that, managing a health plan is an administrative headache. Whether you are an HR manager and that's your primary, that's one of the things that you focus on, or you're a GM or an operator between compliance requirements, enrollment systems, and answering employee questions, it can quickly fall to the bottom of a to-do list, understandably. So the outcome of what we're seeing today is that there's low access to coverage, poor participation when it is offered, and ongoing turnover that makes it harder to build a stable team. So that's, again, just building as to why, like Ali mentioned, we really wanted to create a creative solution to what this looks like, to build benefits for the hospitality industry and also for the operator to be able to leverage a competitive benefits package for their team and make a big difference. This, I think, just sort of goes off and echoes our last slide of what we talked about, but really highlighting the financial and administrative barrier that this creates for operators, and how cyclical this can be, right? The need is so high especially when it comes to things like recruitment and retention. But when an operator or a GM gets stuck in the cycle, there can be a lot of reasons why it becomes challenging to be able to offer this sustainably and long term without being able to see the return of investment on your team over time that you need to really be able to invest in it. So really just finding, when our team thinks about this, both when we're consulting with our clients at Oyster Sunday and creating a benefits package, and on the OS benefit side of things, really just understanding how can we approach these thoughtfully, approach them in a way that are implementable and realistic for operators within the industry. So over the course of the last couple of years, we've really been listening to what our clients have shared with us in terms of the benefits that work well for their teams and that their teams have provided feedback on. And traditional benefits like health insurance, PTO, 401ks, and sick leave definitely still matter. They are, I think, the foundation to a great benefits package. But what we're seeing is that there's definitely emerging priorities, and particularly for employees that are maybe hourly, part-time, who often don't qualify for health insurance. They see value in more diverse offerings as part of the overall benefits package. So what's emerging is a new set of priorities shaped by both, I think, generational shifts, post-pandemic realities, and workers are looking for a lot more support when it comes to mental health support, childcare, financial wellness have also been top concerns. I think many employees that are working within our industry, our parents also, and rising childcare costs are a major reason why people are exploring different options for jobs and careers. In addition to sort of what's emerging, just highlighting, so what are some of these traditional benefits that we've seen, with the understanding that obviously in the industry and the data that we shared earlier, these are not always the most accessible benefits from a financial standpoint or administrative, but wanted to provide an overview of what some of these traditional benefits might look like. And then what additional benefits that we call fringe benefits are in terms of, oh, excuse me, I'll back up just a second. Obviously, health insurance and paid time off are sort of the two leading ones here. And then some of these fringe benefits. We'll talk about sort of the tiered approach to a benefits package in just a second, but some of these fringe benefits, I think, are additional, more creative options that an operator can always consider when they are creating a benefits package that feels, again, realistic, feels competitive. Things like family or staff meal, employee discounts when dining into the business, different stipends for things. Now, obviously, all states, when it comes to different IRS regulations, there are some important guidelines to factor in when you're creating things like stipends and reimbursements for things. But stipends, access to gym memberships? Do you have different businesses in your community that you can make a partnership with to help get discounts to things like memberships or wellness programs, transportation or commuter benefits? And with all of these, we're able to talk a little bit more about how we've approached these sort of wellness benefits or fringe benefits at OS Benefits, and what we've built there. But just thinking about what opportunities you have to create, again, a comprehensive package that also feels realistic from the financial and operational side of things. Okay, so the reality, and I think that the meat of all of this is, what does it look like to build benefits on a budget, right? And so I always, from the HR perspective, recommend thinking about this in a tiered approach. It does not need to happen all at once. But the reality is that most hospitality business, especially as the independent operator of a small business, have to be strategic with every dollar. And that's why we recommend starting with the tiered approach that allows you to scale your benefits over time. Another benefit of doing this over time is that you really want to understand who your team is and what kind of impact these benefits are having on them. And so that might take a full year or two to be able to collect that feedback, to really be able to see the positive or constructive feedback that you're getting from your team, so that you can really be able to evolve this over time. At the basic levels, just like we mentioned in the previous slide, simple, meaningful perks can go a really long way. Things like shift meals, recognition programs, and clear policies around time off, I think, really build trust with your team. And these are low cost but high impact for you. And as you grow, introducing more moderate benefits like mental health stipends, training opportunities that help reduce burnout and promote longevity working with a team. And then finally, there are these more benefits that require a financial investment from the employer, right? Things like access to health insurance, 401k matching, performance bonuses, things that I'm sure at certain times as an operator may not feel realistic financially, and you really want to understand what is that impact that you're going to have, what is the investment that you're going to make, how is it going to affect the bottom line of your business, and also, is that what your team needs? So I think that really what matters most when thinking about this is intentionality, choosing benefits that align with your team's real needs and values. And how do you get there, right? Like, how do you collect that information? How do you make sure that you're building a package that feels in tune with your business, but also in tune with the team, your ever evolving team? Realistically, I think no matter what, it's important to run the numbers. A benefits package is only going to work if it makes sense financially. And so again, focusing on starting with this tiered approach is super important to be able to do so in a way that is sustainable for your business, but always running the numbers, both, I would say both quarterly and on a biannual and annual basis, to be able to see what engagement is looking like. Okay, so just like I touched on in that slide, how do we get started, right? I think really understanding who your team is and what their needs are is the first step. Where's your team coming from? Understanding, is childcare a top priority? Is health insurance a top priority? Who is your workforce? Do you work with a seasonal workforce that's mainly made up of part-time or hourly employees? Do you have mostly full-time hourly? Do you have a management staff? So I think understanding what your team needs, using surveys, checking in with them, or anonymous feedback tools is really important. If you do offer a benefits package right now, audit it. What are the current perks that you have? And, whether those are more formal benefits like health insurance and 401k, or more informal like internal benefits like staff meal, or maybe discounts, wholesale wine that you're offering your team to be able to buy through your distributor. Understanding what their usage is and what really impacts them both positively and constructively. Choose an impactful next step. So again, prioritizing what's feasible, what makes sense to roll out at certain times of the year for the most impact. And I think that honestly, the last two are some of the most important after, running the numbers from a financial perspective. A benefits package is truly only as impactful as it is communicated clearly to your team and how it can be engaged with. So announcing what the changes are, running through what the benefits are, I think, having worked in restaurants my entire career, I can understand that something that is administrative, like a benefits package, there's not always a great time for it during the day, but using moments like a shift meal, or using moments where you're all together, or different streams of communication that people really engage with to be able to share this information, is really what we see to be the most helpful. And maybe not using, like, if email is not the most effective, finding the thing that works best. Doing regular check-ins with your team, so assessing it often, tracking participation, asking for feedback, and adjusting as your team evolves. So with that, again, I think all of this is sort of building up to the reasons why we chose to build OS Benefits. I'm excited to turn it over to Allie, who's going to share a little bit more about what that involves.
Thanks, Sophie. We can go to the next slide. Okay, so on the right-hand side, you'll see a little mock-up of what our OS Benefits dashboard looks like on mobile. OS Benefits was built for the hospitality industry to offer flexible benefit solutions for teams of any size. We're able to do this by using collective bargaining power as a large group to give independent businesses access to affordable benefits, that's wellness and health. And our technology, you're able to streamline benefits administration for your team. Next. Okay, so what you get with the membership to OS Benefits is affordable or access to affordable ACA compliant national health insurance, and that's medical, dental, and vision. We also have employer-sponsored unlimited mental health, and that is getting access to consistent talk therapy and self-guided tools in partnership with Teladoc. We have over 20 wellness benefits, a lot of which Sophie just covered under Fringe, fitness memberships, family care, continuing education. And then we have an admin dashboard for employers. And then we also have a dashboard for your teams to access all of their benefits, wellness and health, or whichever they've opted into. Okay, this is a snapshot of some sample plans that we have. We offer EPO, which is exclusive provider organization, so think like in-network only. And then we have PPOs, preferred provider organization, so in and out of network. Our plans start at $249, and they are all ACA compliant, as I've mentioned a few times. And that is, the EPO translates to a MEC plan, minimal essential coverage. And then our PPO plans are MV, minimum value plans. And depending on the size group that you have, that can cover mandates A and B for ACA compliance, which is very important. And all of our insurance plans are bundled with unlimited telehealth. So that's primary care, urgent care, and behavioral health, which we feel is very important. And it's part of our like holistic, taking care of the whole body, the whole team. And there are some minimums and enrollment windows. Like on average, it takes about 45 days to get your team covered. But one of the best parts about OSB is that we hold your hand through the whole process. A lot of our groups are offering health insurance for the first time, and there's a steep learning curve, and we're here to make it easier for you. We also know that our plans might not be the best fit for you and your team, and we also help navigate some alternative options like ICHRA, which is a nice way to still offer coverage for your team. It's as if you're giving an allowance and then the employee gets to choose which health insurance they want by going to the marketplace. Regardless, we help because we know that there's not a one-size-fits-all approach to benefits, and we want to make sure that as many restaurants and hospitality companies are covered. So we are here to help with that. But another thing to note here on the plans that we do have, we've specifically negotiated $0 deductible plans and very low copay, because we know we know that enrollment numbers are really important, and the whole purpose of offering affordable plans for employers is for the same reason, as to get employees covered. And dental and vision, we partner with Delta Dental and VSP, and they're very affordable and completely voluntary to opt into. So as I mentioned before, Unlimited Mental Health, this is a new partnership we're very excited about. And other than affordable health insurance, mental health resources has been the #1 ask from all of our employer groups. This benefit is perfect for team members who waive coverage or are not eligible for health insurance, but are still looking for mental health. And this is also a really nice approach for groups who aren't ready to take the leap into health insurance, but do want to provide benefits to their team. This is only $10 per employee per month, and employees can have access to consistent therapy, which is huge, and something that all of the other partners we were looking into couldn't provide. So we found out this is definitely the strongest partner for us, and we're really excited about it. And then we have the wellness benefits. The wellness benefits are included for your entire team when you join OSB. And our wellness benefits span 6 different categories, and they're filled with free memberships like ClassPass and Urban Sitter. We have discounted women's health products, an AI language app for any sort of language barriers, front of house and back of house, discounted telehealth appointments and dental care, and like all the way to free Plan B, which is an incredible benefit for so many reasons. And well, just going back real quick, on the left-hand side, those are just some of our partners we wanted to highlight to show who they are. I think that this is one of the most important slides here, and why we are different. We, again, built for hospitality and flexible, like flexible benefits for all team sizes, whether you're a team of 2 or 200, we will help you navigate how to roll out benefits to your team. All of our plans are pre-negotiated, and they're shelf-stable premiums. So that's why we can say they are affordable. There are no age bands that are going to like throw off all of that, might make benefits unaffordable for your team. And we're on the ground. We know it's really important to have a presence in the markets that we're covering, that we're in, and we're listening, and we're constantly adding new benefits like the Teladoc partnership, and we'll soon be rolling out some more supplemental plans like catastrophic coverage and accidental coverage, just to make sure that the hospital benefits are really robust. And now, one other thing that I wanted to touch on back on that last slide is the support team that we provide for any employees that do opt into health insurance. Our support team can help you navigate if a prescription is covered, or if a doctor is in network, or if a hospital bill comes and there's confusion, or just anything in navigating from claims to making sure that the benefits that you're getting the most access and benefits out of them. Okay. This is our dashboard, and like I said before, it's like streamlined, it's easy to use, it's somewhere you can manage your team, add and replace benefits. And for employees, it's a self-service platform to access their benefits, and where they can reach out to the dedicated support team to access everything I just said about like claims, prescriptions, doctors, anything that they have. And we wanted to share the impact of OSB on a multi-state, multi-unit concept that's based in New Orleans. LeBlanc and Smith, and some of their concepts are below. Just there's like from restaurants, bars to hotels. And they saved 25% in health insurance costs company-wide while maintaining ACA compliance by switching over to OSB. And they had a 40% enrollment, which is unheard of in the hospitality industry or many industries at that. In hospitality, it's typically under 20%. And 100% of their team has access to mental health and discounted telehealth. There is access across the board. And we just finished their annual renewal. And their retention rate is over 86%. That is incredible. And it's incredible for everyone involved. And we're very excited to share those stats because we're hopeful that we can do this with a lot of other groups across the country. So we would love to stay in touch. We would love to talk more. I'm sure there are a lot of specific questions around our plans, our benefits, specifically what membership looks like, the full package. And you can reach out to us. You can reach out to me directly, Allie at osbenefits.co, or you can follow us on Instagram, check out our website. There's a lot to look through. And like I said, there's a lot of education involved in health insurance and benefits in general, and offering them to your team for the first time, or if you want to switch providers. Between Sophie and myself, we can help get you there.
Thank you so much, guys. I just wanted to point everybody's attention to the Q&A tab at the bottom. So we're happy to answer any questions that you all may have live here, if there are any. And to add on to what Allie had said, if you have any questions for the Oyster Sunday team about any of their other services that they offer, Sophie would be your contact. And of course, everyone will receive this deck and their contact information afterwards as well. So, happy to answer other HR related questions and things like that, either today or offline. But I did have a question, I guess, maybe Allie, if you could answer the cost that you gave on that first sheet. Can you talk about, are those monthly costs, or give a framework around those prices?
Under the health insurance, the premiums.
Yes.
Yeah, those the premiums, that's the monthly rate per employee. That is the set rate. And then we help you navigate the employer contributions to be equitable and fair, depending on your group size, to be compliant. And we also help with payroll deductions and making sure that everyone knows exactly how much they are paying, whether you're the employer or the employee. But those prices right there are the monthly premiums that the employee is responsible for, unless there's a contribution.
I am going to jump in here and just see if there were any last things for like the general public before we get into maybe more specific questions, so I can end the recording here. Sophie or Allie, did you have any last closing remarks? I think probably good. Okay, so for those of you that are joining us in the future, you can reach out to Allie and Sophie and the Oyster Sunday and Oyster Sunday or OS Benefits team using their contact information. Reach out to Georgetown Main Street if you have any other questions. And thanks so much for joining us. I'm going to stop the recording now.